I've been sharing non-fiction book recommendations to help you get out of a reading slump, especially if you're in a frustrating reading slump. So today I'm going to continue, and this is the part 2 and the final video in the non-fiction book recommendation series. Let's get started. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's Rachel here. As always, hit that subscribe button so you never miss a thing. Like this video so that it is fair to other viewers as well. So like I said, this is the part 2 of the first video. The first video went up a couple of days ago. If you haven't watched it, you can go watch part 1 when you're done with this video. I've been sharing some nice non-fiction books that cut across different subgenres of non-fiction, such as biographies, autobiographies, self-help, inspirational books, memoirs and essays, and things like that that could spark your interest to read again. These books are amazing, they're interesting. Each of them are sort of one of a kind, and I know that when I read them, I was actually inspired to just live, or I learned from their life stories, or I was just inspired to just do things that I actually love. So my 6th recommendation is Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, and it's All Small Stuff by Richard Carlson. This is simple ways to keep the little things from taking over your life. Now, this is actually a self-help book. This is the first self-help book that I'm recommending under the non-fiction genre. This is like my go-to book. This is my bedside table book. Why I love this book is because it has maybe about 90 something or 100 and so 100 and so little short tips that I just guaranteed to start your day right, literally. I just make you, in fact, it almost feels like you're not reading a book because the tips are so practical and so relatable, so down to earth, things that can get you inspired, things that can get you moving again, things that can make you approach life from a different aspect. The summary of the book is that it just teaches you how not to sweat literally the small stuff in life, so that you can just put challenges in perspective, reduce stress and anxiety through small daily changes, and find the path to achieving your goals. Among the insights it reveals are how to think of your problems as potential teachers, do one thing at a time, share glory with others, and learn to trust your intuition. So there's a lot that this little book right here packs, and the beautiful thing is that you don't have to read every single thing in one sitting. You can pick one tip every day and then you keep it moving and you read, and that sort of changes your life that day. So let me just read out some of the chapters that you can find. So things like make peace with imperfection, let go of the idea that gentle, relaxed people can't be super achievers, don't interrupt others or finish their sentences, do something nice for someone and don't tell anyone else about it, let others have the glory, allow yourself to be bored, remember that life is a test and only a test, see the innocence in other people's behavior, and so much more. I think that this book actually changed my perspective on a lot of things and how to approach people even in everyday life. When you meet people that you don't know, or people in traffic, or people that try to annoy you, or things like that, this is really one of those kind of books. So if you're looking to get out of a reading slump, it's a way to make you feel like you're reading something and actually putting it into practice in your daily living. My next recommendation is The Mastery of Self by Miguel Ruiz Jr. This is one of my favorite books of all time. I did my first review on this book. I'm literally going to leave a link in the description box for you guys, but I did my first review on this book, and I think that video is on 1.6k views now or so. You guys can go and check it out. I didn't even know what I was doing then, but I really love this book, and I felt like it was so important to put something out. I think I forgot to film an outro. That's how bad that video was, but you can go and check it out. I love Miguel Ruiz Jr. and Miguel Ruiz. I heard about Miguel Ruiz when I read The 4 Agreements, which I'm coming to in a short while, and that was also one of my favorite books of all time. So this is also a sort of self-help book in a sense, but more in an inspirational way, and just teaching you how to master yourself. So let me read out the synopsis of the book. The ancient Toltecs believed that life as we perceive it is a dream. We each live in our own personal dream, and these come together to form the dream of the planet, or the world in which we live in. Most of us strive to be happy and to live peaceful lives, but the dream of the planet is full of mental and emotional traps that can knock us off balance and keep us bound in a prison of suffering. In The Mastery of Self, Don Miguel Ruiz Jr. teaches that much of our suffering occurs when we forget that we are the architects of our own reality and we have the power to change our dream if we choose. In this book, he offers us the tools to break free from the chains of suffering, including the toughest chains to break, the ones we have created for ourselves. So when I read this book, I actually really learned a lot. So the book covers things like, I'm just trying to look for some of the things in the content. Okay, yes, the making of a master, learning to have unconditional love for yourself and unconditional love for others, getting rid of comparison and competition, how to set goals, especially with self-compassion and self-love. This book really changed my perspective on how I look at myself and the kind of compassion that I give to myself, especially when I'm setting goals, when I'm achieving things, understanding that I am not my achievements and my self-worth is not tied to what I achieve generally. And it helped me even at the beginning of this year when I was trying to set goals. So I feel like this is such a good one. It teaches you a lot about how to deal with your internal self and also how to deal with external people and how you present yourself to people, how you respond to people, understanding not to take things personally and just live your best life while not, taking things to heart all the time. So this is such a very good one. It's a total guide to personal freedom. If it's your thing, you might be interested in that, but it sure did get me out of a reading slump, and I really liked it. My 8th recommendation is The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. So this is the father of Don Miguel Ruiz Jr., as is quite obvious from the name. This is one book that I fell in love with. I can't even remember how I got this recommendation for this book, but this is a book that I really loved. I fell in love with this book because it was just so real and practical. Maybe because at the time of my life when I read it, it was something that I really needed to read, I really needed to know, and I learned so much from it. Basically, the 4 agreements are: be impeccable with your word, don't take anything personally, don't make assumptions, always do your best. And this 4 agreements seem so simple, right? But by the time you get into this book and you apply it to your daily life, you realize that it's one of the hardest things, if not 4 of the hardest things to actually do on a daily basis. So this book tries to put systems in place to teach you to understand the root of why you need to do all of this and how just these 4 simple things can actually change your life for the better. This book is literally just 120 pages. It's this small, and I'm sure maybe like if there's an e-copy of this book, it's like shorter than that. So I mean, it's a short, easy to read book that you can get so much from in one sitting, but guaranteed to also get you out of your reading slump, get you reading again, get you feel like you are practicing things in your life and you have learned so much that could change your life. My 9th recommendation is You Are a Badass by Sincero. I have done a book review on this book, so I'm not going to go much into it, but it's one of my all-time favorites, and I go back once in a while to just go and check the highlighted portions that I highlighted and the parts that I put my sticky tabs, just so I can remind myself of how great I am and how I need to stop doubting my greatness and live an awesome life. This is a very good one. It's also a self-help book, and it's like an entertaining how-to guide which helps you identify and change the self-sabotaging beliefs and behaviors that stop you from getting what you want. It helps you to create a life that you totally love and create it now. It helps you to make some damn money already, the kind that you've never made before. So it's just basically how to stop doubting your greatness. If there's any time that you ever feel like you're burdened with self-doubt, this is a book to just have on your bookshelf when you've highlighted certain things. So just remind yourself. It has amazing quotes by her, and the way that she's able to tackle things that are simple and everybody talks about, but in a different way, because there's nothing really novel about this book. It's not a mind-blowingly new book that people have not said what is inside it before. No, but the way she approaches it and the way she does make you feel like, yes, indeed, you are a badass, is a good way to look at it. So yeah, this is a book that I totally enjoyed, and I think that you would too in the self-help genre, and that can get you out of a reading slump. In fact, this book can get you so inspired that you're not only reading, but you're taking action in other parts of your life. So you can check it out today. You can also check out my review on it. Last but not the least, my all-time fave of 2020 Atomic Habits by James Clare. You guys, I totally love this book. This is an amazing book. Like, I just feel like if you didn't read it in 2020, 2021 is a good time for you to read it. If you didn't read it in 2021, read it in 2022. But this is one book that you must read. If there's a non-fiction book that you must read, James Clare's Atomic Habits is that book. I feel like when I read this book, you know, there's sometimes that you read a book and then afterwards the initial gra wears off and you're like, oh, whatever, okay, I beg, I can't even keep to this. For my non-Nigerian viewers, initial gra is like what you will call the honeymoon phase, when you have gotten tired of something. Like you get something the first time and you're so hyped about it, you're so excited about it, and then you're happy, you're doing everything right. If it's a book, you're following everything the book says, and then after like 2 weeks you're like, okay, whatever, I beg, I'm not even in the mood. But the thing about it is that most of the things that you learn from Atomic Habits, they sort of stick with you throughout a lifetime, because it's practical knowledge, whether or not you're using it. And the times that you decide that you then want to use it, they prove so effective and so helpful and so efficient in helping you build beautiful habits. And one lovely thing I love about this book is not just the fact that, oh, it's another self-help inspirational book. It's one that really breaks things down for you, that you can see in a systematic way how you can build good habits, how you can do it in little doses. So not just, oh, this is a huge thing that you want to do, go and do that, but it teaches you how to break it down into the littlest of habits. Anyway, you guys should go and check out my review on this. I'm not going to go deep into this book, but this book is guaranteed to change your life, get you out of a reading slump, get you reading again, and get you doing a whole lot more than reading, because of how amazing and practical it is. So you can go and watch my review on that. I will leave the link up there so that you guys can click on it. So yeah, those are my 10 amazing non-fiction book recommendations that you can read. This is the part 2. This is the end of the series. You can read them. Let me know in the comments if you've read any one of them, what your reading experience was like when you read them. If you're going to pick up any of them, let me know as well in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.